good morning, everybody. My name is Frances Casnett-Ice, and I am president of the Houston East End Chamber of Commerce, and it's an honor to welcome you to our business webinar today, Coronavirus and Cars. In this business webinar, you'll be talking about the affecting of COVID to our automotive market and what you should know in regards to buying a car, to protect your car's auto body repairs, and also what to do to sanitize your work and personal car. A lot of people are still working. There's a lot of essential workers out there, so cars are very necessary right now. And today you're going to hear from our guest, Dale Early, who is a dealer principal at Hyundai of Silsbee. Also, you'll hear from John Kopriva, owner at Kopriva Bottle Works, Inc., and also from Carla Martinez from RhinoPro USA. Safety and sanitizing are key for our vehicles right now. So let's just enjoy listening to best practices on how the automotive industry is keeping you safe and precautions that you should take to ensure you're having a good running vehicle, and how to properly avoid the delay of important maintenance of repairs during and after COVID-19. Thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Wonderful. Great. Well, I know all of you very well, and I'm so honored to have you guys here. We're going to start with you, Dale. I know that this is, we met when you were here near the Gulfgate area, and now you're at Hyundai of Silsbee. Can you tell us a little bit about the auto industry and how it's affecting you?
We've gone through a lot of changes, just like all businesses have. Since we are, consumer driven, without a doubt, anytime consumer confidence is lost, it impacts us. And to be honest about it, all the way from the OEMs with the manufacturers, through, people that provide financing to us. And, we all kind of put together a game plan to attack the whole situation regarding COVID and what could come out of it. So, a lot of things were, deployed almost immediately, from the manufacturer, which, also, flowed down to us as a dealer. And we were able to put together response plans early on in the whole process and try to minimize the impact, that it would have on our business. Now, initially, in the month of March, when everything was announced, we ended up, seeing our business drop off about 25%. In April, things got a little bit more dicey and our business dropped about 50%. And then the month of May, it returned to pretty much March levels. Now, June, we're starting to see a return to business that was similar to what we experienced pre-pandemic. But, we still have to deal with all the issues related to making sure that we have an environment that's safe for people to come into. So daily sanitizing, and routine sanitizing, almost from a customer to customer basis is always, a key piece of our strategy, in dealing with the coronavirus. We have shifted the majority of our sales, at least 50% are now being done contactless and remote. Some of these things were, already in process of happening because people have been moving toward, digital and online purchasing for quite some time. But, with COVID, it kind of accelerated everything. And I don't think any dealer out there today, doesn't have a digital retail solution and able to take care of a customer, on a remote basis or any way that they see that they want to, purchase. So, the transparency that has to occur when you ended up, adopting that kind of strategy is a little bit different than what we mostly have had to contend with over the years. And the trust factor has to increase on both sides too. So we're starting to see, some C-shift changes that really, were a long time coming and to a great degree are welcome because, there is a better way to be able to conduct business, in a dealership environment. And some of the things that we've been challenged with over the years, COVID actually has, forced us to come up with better answers.
I like when you say that because, again, even with the whole world, every industry is affected by COVID, and people are having to hit that reset button and figure out new ways in order to change their direction because everyone is always going to have safety in mind moving forward. So I'm glad that happened. So can you tell us, is right now a good time for people to go out and buy a car?
It's an excellent time to go out because the incentives are, extremely attractive, and the inventory levels are pretty good. In some manufacturers, there's a shortage of cars, but by and large, when it comes to new, there's vehicles available, and the pre-owned market is pretty plentiful in terms of having vehicles available to purchase as well. So anybody that has a need to purchase an automobile, it's a good time for them to come out. And we're doing everything we possibly can to make it as easy for them to purchase as we can. I mean, we appreciate people making the attempt to want to do business, because honestly, we all need the economy to continue to run. And since we're such a huge part of the consumer-based economy, automobile purchases and a lot of things associated with it, we definitely got to see growth in that area. It's coming back slowly. It's not, coming back quickly as we like, but still it's a great time to go out and do business.
That's great. And you had mentioned that a lot of dealerships are changing to this environment. Is there like a collective group? Do you all share best practices, or how do you guys come together with some of these ideas?
Well, automobile dealers are fiercely competitive. So, we don't have a tendency to just openly share. I mean, we have the state and dealer associations as well as the national dealer association that kind of act as a conduit for information being passed back and forth. A lot of the dealerships today are owned by, publicly held corporations and large dealer groups. So, they have communication amongst themselves a little bit better. But I think, overall, we're trying to support each other any way we can. Sharing of ideas has always been important. It's even more important today. Some of the dealers out there were already well ahead of the curve from the standpoint of adopting digital retail solutions. And those folks have been instrumental in getting other dealers to come on board. We're all having to kind of, move in the same direction if we're going to be able to overcome the whole issue.
Great. And in some companies, they've had to in order to keep their employees, they've had to either do double duty or shift to other departments. How have you seen in the auto industry employees, or how do you keep your employees' morale high?
Well, when COVID first was announced, and we started to see the lockdowns and the shelter in place and stay at home orders, start to hit, it was imperative that I make the employees of this dealership understand that, we're going to, continue to support them, but we all have to make sure that we continue to be productive. And since we were considered an essential business and allowed to remain open, that, we had to not necessarily do business as usual because it wasn't that, but we had to make sure that we were doing something productive with every day that we were here in order to ensure that we still had a livelihood. And most of them, for certain understood that. We had very minimal layoffs. I mean, I don't run a very fat organization anyway. We're pretty lean from the very beginning, and cross-training and being able to wear more than one hat is always a valued, trait, for the employees here, and everybody understands that. So I think we probably were able to manage it without a whole lot of disruption better than most. But, by and large, the employee population probably within dealership operations didn't see quite as much of a drop off as, maybe some of the other retail, businesses that were shut down and or had to do reduced capacity.
Oh, that's good to hear. Thank you so much. That attests to your great leadership, Dale. And then also, and that you said that their sales in June were great. What is your prediction? I know it's hard to predict, but do you see the summer months getting a little bit better for you?
As I mentioned early on, it almost is a minute by minute, day by day decision-making process that goes into it today. The month of June, coming out of May, I could see that there was an uptick in the market. And I started to do some things promotionally that I probably wouldn't have done in April. Going into the month of July, and things starting to seemingly slow down just a little bit, we're not going to go into a retrenchment mode, but we're going to make sure that we pick the right spots to be able to get our name out there, and we also send out the right message. want to make sure people are, understand that they're safe, in transacting business with us, and they can do it from the comfort of their home if they choose to do so. If they come into the dealership, they're going to be walking to an environment that is, been sanitized and repeatedly sanitized, during the course of the day, so they can have confidence that, if they come in, whether they wear a mask or not. We so happen to be in a county that doesn't require, people wearing masks when they go into businesses. So, it's really a personal choice. We haven't imposed it upon, our customers as well as our employees, but, we practice safe distancing, social distancing, and try to follow the CDC guidelines as closely as possible, because we all realize the gravity, of contracting, COVID-19. It's not a joke, it's not a hoax. We know that this is real, and lives have been lost as a result of it. And we all have to, respect that fact and do everything we possibly can to slow it down.
Thank you so much, Dale. That was great information for us. We're going to ask John Kopriva to join me so we can talk a little bit about the auto repair industry, and then we're all of us are going to come back for some more Q&A. So thank you so much for your sharing there, Dale.
My pleasure.
And then next we have John Kopriva with Kopriva Auto Body Works, and John's family business have been in business for 90 years in the East End. His father started Kopriva, and now his son David is working at Kopriva. As soon as he gets on, we're going to have him start talking. But in the meantime, their location is on the corner of Harrisburg and Lockwood, and right there in the East End, and they're just thriving. Hey, John, can you hear us? Well, maybe he's not. There you go. Hi, John. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. We're all getting used to this new technology. So thanks for your patience. And we hear that you've got a new system, and so thanks again for joining us today.
Well, I apologize for having to learn in the last minute on how to use my equipment, because I'm not used to working from home. But a lot of what Dale just explained, we've gone through. And more than once have I had to go to a Zoom meeting on my telephone, but I managed to get a Logitech. So many people are working from home, they became very scarce. So thank you for asking me to participate. But in listening to what Dale just said, we have experienced just about everything he said. We were really starting to recover after the first of the year. Work was coming in, it was running smoothly. We picked up some really good commercial accounts, very large commercial accounts. One was out of Arizona, and they have a very large fleet. So we were doing quite a bit of fleet work. We're also very tied to the insurance industry and do a lot of insurance work. When this all started, we noticed there was a slowdown, and quickly we had to learn, what is COVID? How is it going to affect our business? Fortunately, last September, I was president of the Houston Auto Body Association, and we had just under 100 members. We had really started rolling in our recruiting. Back in September, at our September Auto Trade Show, we merged the Houston Auto Body Association with the Auto Body Association of Texas, which it makes for a larger association, a stronger association, and we call it ABAT, Auto Body Association of Texas. ABAT started having COVID meetings, and they were once a day for 3 days for an hour. And we started talking about, what is COVID? How's it going to affect our business? How do we communicate that to our customers? And how do we let them know that we are a safe company? So with that said, David, who is my manager and runs the company now since I'm quarantined, put together a program that basically he put on our website and on Facebook. And we tried to send it to as many customers as we possibly could to let them know that we're a safe facility. And basically what it consisted of course, we closed our front door, let people enter in through the side door. We would notify them that if you don't feel safe, you can still come to our facility, pull up in front, notify us by telephone that you'll be arriving. We'll come to you. And our estimator would go out and look at the vehicle, complete the estimate of damage, take pictures, get the customer's email address, and we would electronically send that information to them. Whereas we used to go and pick up and deliver, we had to alter that, but we would bring the cars in. We'd have to go through a sanitizing process. One of the things that really hurt us, though, is once people started the quarantine, rental cars became very unavailable. And matter of fact, almost non-existent. So when you tried to put a customer in a rental car, there were none. So that became an issue. And we noticed that work slowly started to slow down, and we started talking about how are we going to survive this? How long is this going to last? That was the big question. And we did furlough a couple of employees. What if somebody gets sick? We are a small business. And what happens if somebody gets sick? Do we send everybody home? So we had to put a plan in effect where we practice safe distancing. And we kept employees pretty much segregated. Our break room, we only allowed one person in the break room at a time. We had to even go as far as recommendations on how to treat your lunches in the break room, not leaving food open and that sort of thing. And it all was working fine. And as our work started to slow down, May really hit us hard. We normally repair 60 to 70 cars easily a month. May was a very hard month. Our sales dropped off. We did less than a dozen cars for the month of May. As we started to get back on our feet and things started to improve, in June, here we get hit with a second wave of COVID. Unfortunately for me, I got sick back at the end of the year and found out I had pneumonia, not related to COVID, but I did take a COVID test just to make sure. I've been quarantined, and through February to the present, I've only been back to the company 3 times. And that's been really hard on me. David's done a phenomenal job in communicating with our customers. The other thing that we were relying on with our commercial work, the large companies that we were dealing with all of a sudden started having employees that were getting sick, and they shut the majority of their businesses down. So now commercial is falling off. So we started to panic a little bit, but once again, we had to dig harder to find out how can we get our business back up. Well, one of the things that I was doing prior to COVID, I was out doing business development for the company, and people were greeting, welcoming to the company. All of a sudden, I'm faced with shut doors. And when we started talking to our insurance carriers that provided us with work, we talked to 2 of the largest. And when they tell you nationwide for a 2-day period, they only had 33 claims nationwide. That really set the tone. And one of the local insurance companies said for the for the weekend, they only had 25 claims on a Monday morning. That's getting scary. Once people started driving again, of course, collisions started on the rise. We did not have a problem getting parts in the beginning, but as it began to slow down, parts availability, once again, COVID struck the manufacturers, but now they're working around the clock to get parts availability back up, so there's no problem there. We work closely with several dealerships. They had a slowdown, and their availability, as Dale said, they had enough units, but had trouble getting those units replaced once they were sold. So once again, as she said, if you want to buy an automobile, now's the time to do it. But if your automobile's damaged, we have in place a safe program to help our customers to ensure that their car is repaired correctly. We give written lifetime warranties on our work. Uh, so the pandemic has been bad. I don't know that it's going to clear by the end of the summer. We can only hope. This has been like nothing I've ever seen in a lifetime. And we thought Hurricane Ike and Harvey were bad, but I think COVID in its own way is even worse. And
Right.
I'm just praying that they find a solution to it. But I don't know that it's going to happen before the end of the summer. I wish I could be more positive, but all we can do is hope and pray.
It's a day by day type of thing.
Day by day.
And one of the reasons we so wanted you to be a part of this program is you're a family-owned business and in the East End for 90 years. And so we hope that people, when they want to get a car, your body shop repair, or auto body repaired, to think and shop local with Kopriva. So thank you so much for sharing that insights. We're actually going to bring Carla on next. She's going to share with us some information, and then all of us are going to be back so we can answer some group questions. So now it's an honor to welcome you to, hi Carla, how are you?
Doing well, how are you?
Great. And I know you're going to take over some slides to show us today, but also I look forward to learning a little bit more about RhinoPro.
Yeah, so RhinoPro is actually, we like to say, your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs. And I forgot to say thank you for having me on this. I'm excited to share a little bit about the company. We are a family-owned business, so this is really exciting for us as well. And similar experiences to what John and Dale had mentioned before. I mean, I think it's kind of redundant almost to say that COVID has impacted. You know, I think it's impacted every single business. It's almost impossible to say it hasn't. Even if, you know, things are going back to the way they were, you know, in those couple of months, especially at the beginning, they were hard for sure. But yeah, so RhinoPro, your one-stop shop for all your automotive needs. We do a little bit of everything. Trying to find the little arrows to change it. Oh, there we go. Okay. So a little bit about us, our story. So a lot of people know Rhino Linings. You know, it's one of the biggest spray-on bed liner companies, you know, known internationally around the world. And we have kind of an extension, so that's why we're allowed to use the RhinoPro name. And what started off as the spray-on bed liner company, you know, we almost expanded into all sectors of the automotive industry. I mean, when people ask, no, we're not a dealership, so you can't actually buy a vehicle from us, and we're not a collision center or a body shop, so we can't actually fix your car if you've been, you know, in an accident or anything like that. But we do have, so this is what we do. So we also do spray-on bed liners, kind of, you know, honoring that Rhino name. We have our own service bodies, so they're available in both, you know, kind of steel and aluminum. They're used by a lot of municipalities, the telecommunications industry, like for example, like AT&T and Verizon, and different sectors of like the energy industry or even construction and all of that. They use these service bodies. And in our stores, we actually have, you know, 18 locations across the United States. We do upfitting and customization, and especially here in Texas, you know, everyone likes their big trucks, their lifted trucks, you know, with like their big wheels and tires and all of that. So we're able to do all of that. We do wraps, we do window tinting, we do, you know, lift kit installations, anything. And then here in Houston, we have a partnership with Post Oak Motor Cars, you know, in Uptown, and we do all of their ceramic coatings, and we offer a detailing service. So we do the ceramic coatings here at our corporate office in Katy and at Post Oak Motors. So basically that kind of is a nano ceramic, you know, protection that kind of, it's actually very interesting. For example, if you know, get hit or whatever by someone scratches your car door, basically you can kind of just wipe it off. So it's a really interesting kind of technology that we offer. And it's, you know, it's very durable. You know, you really don't have to go to a car wash. Well, you do, but not those electric ones. And then, yeah. So these are some of the images of what we do. So at the bottom right, we have, our service body. At the top, we have, that before and after of the Ceramic Pro. So, it honestly saves you a trip to the car wash. Instead of going every week, you might go every 2 weeks or anything like that. Our spray on bed liner is on the left. In the middle, we have an upfitted Jeep. So that kind of has, a winch, the tires and the wheels, it's coated, it has the Kevlar coating. And then on the bottom left, we have one of those Jeep Gladiators. Awesome cars, awesome vehicles. We're a NASCAR sponsor, have been for a while now, at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So that's at one of our events. And then I think this is the point that was really interesting to you, Francis, and kind of why you reached out. So we do offer now a vehicle disinfectant spray. A lot of, it was actually really interesting because at the beginning of the whole pandemic, we were talking with a lot of police officers, and they were saying that they would spray with Lysol, kind of before and after their shift, just in order to disinfect their vehicles. And I was talking to them like, well, isn't that kind of, time consuming, one, and zero cost efficient, because you have to spray every single time you get in and out of your vehicle. And they're, yes, but no one has really come up with another solution. So we had this product, but we hadn't really kind of launched it into the market because there was really never kind of a need for it. And I think everyone can agree that with COVID, everyone's going to be a little more hygienic and be aware of what they're doing with their hands, and kind of being conscious of everything. But we realized that, people are still going to go get in their cars. They still have to go to the doctor's office. They still have to go to the grocery store. And even if you're not going to get infected, you could always be asymptomatic and infect the people around you. So it's almost kind of like, don't be selfish, do it, for you and your loved ones and to protect your family. So our vehicle disinfectant kind of protects your vehicle for 3 to 6 months, depending on how often you use your vehicle. And it rids a vehicle of bad smells, germs, fungi, bacteria, and fungi. So bacteria and viruses. So it is effective against the coronavirus. And how it works is it's introduced through a vehicle's external air intake, and then it's recirculated throughout the vehicle with the air conditioning system. And the whole disinfecting process takes 15 minutes. It's a very simple process, and you can use your vehicle, after the 15 minutes. We have this product, at all of our stores, and then you can also buy it online on our website. What we discovered is that a lot of products similar to, like Lysol and Clorox, even if you're just wiping it down, those microorganisms are going to come back as soon as you get back into the car because you're introducing new germs. So this is just kind of effective in cleaning the whole interior of the vehicle. And I know with the second, kind of spread here in Houston, it's kind of been super important introducing this product into the market, just, to help stop the spread. I mean, none of the people that we've sold it to, they have no complaints. Everyone loves it. No one's gotten sick. And I think, honestly, this product has, it's very effective. We use it at also from all types of vehicles to ambulances to all the way to, like your luxury vehicles. We've used it in Rolls Royce, Bentleys, Ferraris, anything like that, all the way to Jeeps and like your basic consumer everyday car. So it's been really effective, no problems at all. I mean, if anyone wants to keep talking about it, actually, I have my contact information after. Next slide. And then just how coronavirus has affected us. At the beginning, we saw it first in Las Vegas. They introduced the lockdown procedures and we got really nervous. Like, what are we gonna do? But we were actually considered an essential business because I mentioned that we have, those service bodies and we work with the municipalities and, the government over there. And we also outfit a lot of their police vehicles. So we're a code 3 shop. But we did see a decrease in revenue. I mean, like the previous panelist said, I mean, it was impossible not to. I mean, everyone was scared. No one wanted to leave their house. And so a lot of people weren't going into the store for the retail side, for purchasing, a hitch or tires and wheels or anything like that. We did see with the months as it progressed that a lot of smaller competitors, went out of business, unfortunately. It was just not stable. If no one was going to go into their shop, how were they going to stay afloat? We thankfully became less dependent on China. I think a lot of people started having to look elsewhere. So a lot of our manufacturers and everything were produced here in the United States. So we didn't really see, you know, kind of any effects on that. So we were able still to get our parts in. Of course, it didn't, you know, really matter because we didn't have as much, you know, foot traffic in our stores. And I mean, like the previous panelist said, due to the incentives and everything, people are still going out and purchasing their cars. People are still going to be protecting their investments, even if they don't want to spend on a vehicle. They'll still be, you know, willing to put the money in and protect the vehicles that they currently have. So I think honestly, hopefully the automotive industry has been impacted for sure. I think everyone can agree and attest to that, but I think we'll definitely come out of this, you know, kind of stronger than ever, since people are going to be conscious now about what they do. So as long as you're following CDC guidelines, I mean, the best we can do is kind of hope and pray that we come out of this stronger.
And Carla, how have you seen sales go with the ordering the disinfectant online or in your stores?
They've been really high. I mean, it's been great. You know, like I said, we've had no problems with the product whatsoever. It's gotten rave reviews. So that's been really great news. It's the only, I think, you know, hardest part would be kind of the installation process. But, you know, once you get to it, and I mean, we have techs that are available to, you know, kind of sanitize and disinfect and kind of and put the product in for you. So it hasn't really been an issue. I mean, finding it, it's as easy as opening the hood of your car and just kind of finding the external air intake.
Good. Well, too bad we didn't have this before Father's Day, because this might have been a good Father's Day gift for a lot of dads out there.
I know. Well, now everyone knows.
Everyone knows, and they can order it. And what is your website, or where can they go to order this?
Yeah, so our website is rhinoprous.com, specifically for that, you know, for the product. It's rhinoprous.com/health.
Health. Great. That's so good. And now we're going to bring all of our panelists back on the screen so that we can ask some group questions. And if you have a question, please make sure that you ask it in the Q&A button down below. But while we're bringing back off is what other, and Dale, I don't know, is this the first time you've heard of Rhino Plus, the disinfectant?
Well, you know, we have been using a product, you know, for a couple of years already, and primarily in our pre-owned vehicles. So not her product specifically, but we've actually were one of the first dealerships, probably only dealership in this area that started to do this a while back. Now, you know, we've gone a little bit further from the standpoint of, you know, making sure that every car we deliver, you know, new and pre-owned, is sanitized before we deliver the car. And we also are offering the service on our service drive too, in our service department, for anybody that wants to get it done with a vehicle they have in service. So, you know, we are, you know, probably a little bit further along and further ahead than most dealerships were, you know, because it started with us more to do with the smell of the car than it did with the actual disinfecting of it. But it's the same process and some of the same products. And you know, now, you know, we've got a lot more opportunity to choose, you know, who we do business with in terms of getting the product. And who knows, I might be getting in touch with Carla here real soon and see if she wants to start to work with a guy in Silsbee, Texas.
Absolutely. We're, you know, anything you need, we're super open for anything. And
fantastic.
Great.
Fantastic.
And then John, you talked about corporate accounts, and here in the East End, if you haven't seen it, Amazon Prime moved in, and they've got a huge demand. I see them through the neighborhood. People are ordering things online. They're probably delivering RhinoPro to their doorsteps. How has that business helped you, and have you seen an increase in their services?
Well, when Amazon came to the neighborhood, pardon me, I made a call on them. And it turns out that the fellow that is over their vehicle program went and grew up in the same neighborhood as my two kids. So there was a common bond from the very beginning. It turned out to be a great account, but the problem now is everybody's working from home and they're ordering all their products online, and those trucks are running almost 24/7. And most of the work that we're doing are replacing door mirrors, tail lights, running boards, and they're keeping those vehicles on the road. They've got to. I mean, it's true with FedEx, UPS. Everybody is running full capacity, but Amazon has been a tremendous account for us. We've got a great relationship with their fleet staff, and it's only going to get better once COVID starts to decline, because before we had several of their vehicles in the shop all the time.
That's great. Thank you so much for that. And then this is a question for everybody. How has your marketing changed during COVID-19? And Carla, we'll start with you. Your marketing, your services.
I think we just kind of have to be more conscious. You know, a lot of people don't have right now, you know, or don't want to be spending, you know, as much money as they would usually. I mean, our installations can run from anything to a couple of $1,000s to, you know, a lot, or a couple hundred to a, you know, a couple thousand. So we just have to be more conscious and be kind of spread the message that we're here for you. We're willing to work with you. And, you know, we're not here just to kind of take your money. We want to be part of your family, and we understand the situation.
Good. And Dale, how has your marketing changed since during COVID?
A lot of our marketing, you know, and we were already migrating to more digital marketing than we were traditional marketing. Overall, the traditional marketing that we were doing, you know, radio, you know, TV, things of that nature, you know, don't allow us to articulate, you know, our actual response to COVID-19 as well as digital does. And with everybody nowadays probably spending a lot more time online, and with Facebook, it's easier to use that as a media. So, you know, we make sure that, you know, much like Carla mentioned, you know, we make sure that people understand that we're just not trying to solicit your business right now. You know, we're trying to be a part of the solution and not add to the problem. And that's one reason why we want to stress that, you know, we can be able to conduct business, you know, contactless if you prefer that. If you do come into our dealership operation, you know, we're going to make sure that you are properly protected. You know, we're not going to be walking around with PPE equipment, you know, and hazmat, you know, suits on, but, you know, we're going to make certain that, you know, you don't have to worry about the possibility or high probability of contracting the virus here at this dealership operation if you choose to come in. And if you don't, we can do everything pretty much online. I mean, we have a digital retail solution that allows them to be able to submit their credit information, get, you know, approved by a lender. The only thing they have to do is basically decide if they want to bring the car and the paperwork to them, if they want to come in and get it, you know, and most people are still choosing to come in as opposed to, you know, having it done remotely, even though more conversation is being done online. I mean, more communication has been, most of the negotiation now is being done digitally. You know, we're not having to spend as much time in the dealership, you know, trying to work out the actual deal, the trade value, everything else has been done. So we stress all those things in our marketing tool in any prospect that's out there, just to let them know that we're going to try to make this as smooth and easy and stress-free as possible, because with this, with circumstances in general, we deal with enough stress, but this has really got everybody a little bit more hypersensitive. And obviously, we're in the same world that everybody else lives in. One thing about COVID, though, is a great equalizer. You know, everybody is, you know, dealing with the same issues. You know, no matter what business you talk about, you know, we probably could get people on here that are unrelated to the automobile business. A lot of conversation would be the same. So reality of it is our world's gotten smaller, and we need to figure out a way to make sure that we end up, you know, working more together to overcome it. Man, because honestly, you know, this is not just a problem for Dale Early. You know, this is a problem for, you know, us as a nation, as well as, you know, our global partners too.
So true. Well said. We do need to come together for that. And John, has your marketing changed during COVID?
Drastically. Being a small business as we are, marketing dollars are very important to us the way they're spent. And I think we've done more to reach out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. We've done mailings. We have a file of customers' email addresses. We've done some e-blast. And two, by association, since I'd been on the board of the Better Business Bureau and of course the Chamber, Harrisburg Rotary, I've called a lot of my contacts to let them know we're still in business. We're still operating. Our shop, we did not change the hours. Since we were an essential business, it's business as usual. But I think more than anything, this is a time, Dale mentioned it earlier, that it's time to kind of back up, evaluate. We're reworking our website. We're doing some things that we haven't done before on our website. It's been a challenge, but social media, I think, has been one of the bigger things that we've fallen back on.
Great, great. And so right now is an important time to collaborate. And I love this. So people can go out and buy a car from Dale. And then if something happens, he can get it repaired at Kopriva, and also order that Rhino Plus online. Is there anything that you guys can share with me that we haven't asked that you want the audience to know about the auto industry, particularly your world, that we all should know in either supporting you or just awareness? Carla, we'll start with you.
I'm trying to think. I think, kind of there's always going to be a need for, our industry specifically. As long as, I mean, like I said, COVID has impacted us in ways we could not have even imagined. So I think things will drastically change. But I think, like I said before, we will come out of this stronger than ever. I mean, we have to. It's either a sink or swim kind of industry. So it's just kind of a matter of adapting and kind of adjusting to the times and the needs, and kind of listening to what our customers want, what they need, and what they're looking for, and always just being aware. And like everyone said, I mean, people are going to be spending more time online than probably they did before, which is unimaginable, honestly. But yeah, so it's just a matter of adjusting. I mean, you have to.
True. Dale?
The automobile industry has shown tremendous resiliency over the century, so, we're kind of used to dealing with one issue or another. It's always something, nothing quite like COVID, but, we find, in some ways we've been here before. And what it really boils down to is trying to make sure that we can make certain that as many people who are doing the right things, survive this pandemic, physically, mentally, and business as well as personal. So I guess what I want to, express and articulate to anybody that's listening is that we are, in partnership with everyone trying to solve this problem. And I think we made a tremendous amount of progress, in a relatively short period of time. Haven't come up with a vaccine yet, but I think we found ways of doing business that doesn't expose people to the risk that they were being exposed to before. I think we're all a little bit smarter about how we go about contacting business, and we will continue to do that. And I think when we come out of this whole circumstance, the business will evolve, in ways that it needed to evolve anyway. I think we'll find there's certain, if you can call it, benefits associated with the pandemic. It will allow for us to be able to make it a little bit easier for us to do business, when it comes to automobile purchasing and anything related to it.
Well said. Thank you. And you, John, anything to add?
Last but not least, I would just encourage people that if they are involved in an accident, know who they're doing business with. Select a shop that provides training, that provides a warranty. Cars are more complex today than they were 5 years ago. And Dale can attest to this, with all the sensors that are on these automobiles. And when a car is involved in an accident, we scan that car with a computer to find out exactly what needs to be checked. And after doing our analysis, we have to correct the problem. So I would tell people, you want to make sure, number one, you know who you're doing business with. I'm sorry to say there's a lot of smaller businesses, they're going out of business, but maybe they need to. I think the strong are getting stronger. I trust that during this period that people need to know we're a safe company. We're not part of the problem. We're trying to help as much as we can. And it just like Dale said, we've got to pull through this together.
I love it. So my quick takeaways, and I hope that everyone reaches out to all of you, is that trust factor. Everyone has to, and I think I trust all of you, your companies, and know that after people hear you talk, they're going to have that trust factor with you too. And how cross training is very important right now, and it is like that reset button. This is some downtime right now for all of us to reevaluate. And if we don't have an online presence or a contactless payment, then now is the time to do that, because it looks like that is going to be the wave of the future. And that this may be a disruption right now, but coming together, we're all going to come out better ahead. So thank you all so much for joining us today, for sharing your insights. And I hope that all of you stay safe, and that we all can come back together again and talk about our businesses flourishing this time next year.
All right, thank you. Be well, be safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.